People are story making machines. This week I spent a lot of time making up stories about making videos and everything around it. And I would say, I don't know, probably wasted a lot of time doing that. And it didn't really get me anywhere. So I'm going to maybe focus my video on a topic. I was a census taker for 20 years and I made stories. I don't know, I'd like to say I made stories, or I made assumptions, or I had stereotypes, or I made conclusions. I went to a lot of homes, different homes, to do interviews, and as I would pull up and start walking towards the front door, stories started being made up about who was living here, how I was received, what they did, etc., etc. And I was really surprised to find that a lot of my assumptions, stories, stereotypes were totally blown out of the water over and over again. Let me give you an example. Let's see. Trying to think of an example that would be relevant to this topic. There was a time where I worked in a pretty sketchy neighborhood. I went to the front door. I was a little nervous. It was late. It was during the winter time, so it was dark at about 5 o'clock. I was greeted by a wonderful woman, and she was very welcoming, and she made me feel at home. She answered all my questions. And then towards the end, she did mention that there was another household member, but they were not there at the time. And I just wanted to know, were they registered living there, or were they, in a different state? And she let me know that they were in jail. And I, being nosy or inquisitive, I just wanted to know how long, and just curious why people go to jail. And I asked her, and she told me that it was for murder. So that kind of blew my mind, because here was this woman giving me such a warm embrace and welcoming, and then there was somebody who was in jail for murder. But that's another story. You don't know why people end up in jail and what the situation was. And in contrast to that, there was one time that I went to this mansion that was on the top of the hill, and I was met by the teenager that lived there, who went and got his dad, and he came out. He didn't even bother to put his slippers or shoes on, and he was so angry, and he came out screaming. So that was something I didn't expect either. So these are the stories I made and how they get blown out of the water. And thank you very much for listening to my video.